Hey, Karu and Nikki. It is Saturday morning, the 10th of March, and I wanted to make a quick video. I made a video earlier and I mentioned the idea of telling stories, and I thought it would be cool to have some short videos, and so I'm going to make a rule for these storytelling videos. They have to be less than 4 minutes long. So you got to tell your story nice and quick and tight. So I'm going to try to do that. Start today with the story of Sarah and I going to Belize. Now, there's a whole bunch of stories about Belize that I want to tell, and but in order to tell them, you kind of have to get the whole context. So Sarah and I got married in 1990. It was the summer of '90, and she was attending grad school and be an anthropologist. She had to do PhD research somewhere in a community. She wanted to do Latin American, and so when she looked at countries in Latin America, her choices were really Belize and Costa Rica, because we had 2 kids and she didn't want to take kids to countries that weren't safe. So we decided to go to Belize. We found a community in southern Belize at 3,500. She was going to study interethnic relationships between kids in the community and how kids construct their identity, ethnic identity. So she was setting up that project. I actually was an undergrad at Evergreen at the time. I went and worked with a guy named Russ Fox at Evergreen, wrote up an independent learning contract to do a census-like survey of the town, the entire town, and I was going to map the whole town, which I did, and then do this census. So we also decided we wanted to have a vehicle with us when we were down there, and we looked into the cost of buying a vehicle down there, and we were worried that we weren't going to be able to get a decent vehicle in Belize. So we bought a 1978 Toyota Land Cruiser and decided we would drive to Belize, and that it would be cheaper in the long run because we could sell the vehicle. So we bought this old Land Cruiser. We fixed it up. We had we gave it to my brother-in-law Brad for like 6 months, and he did a whole bunch of work on it. It was awesome, and then we drove down from Olympia, Washington to Punta Gorda, Belize over a period of a couple weeks, 3 weeks actually, probably close to 3 weeks. I think it was 18 days to Belize, and then we spent another week in northern Belize before we went to Punta Gorda. So anyway, there's a whole bunch of stories associated with that, which I will tell one at a time. We lived in Belize there for 15 months. While we were there, my parents were living in China. Sarah's parents were living in Panama. And we actually went to Panama twice. We didn't come back to the States and visited Sarah's parents. And then in the end of our stay, I completed my research project. My brother came down and spent some time with us. Brad and Linda and my parents came down at some point, and they actually drove the Land Cruiser back to the States, and Sarah's parents bought us plane tickets and we flew back. So at the end of our stay, we both published our research and presented it at a conference in Belize City. So it was a cool trip. It was fun. It was one of the best times in our lives. We ate lots of rice and beans, got to spend lots of time with the kids, and trade off doing our jobs. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. My 4 minutes are up. Still dead.